Our show starts with Banaza putting up a barrier around the house, just in case any demons decide to drop by unannounced. Fenris thinks it's brilliant and vows to kick out that noisy cat if she ever shows up again. Fenris is still annoyed just thinking about her. If you don't want Fenris to get ticked off, please subscribe to the channel and don't miss any updates. Banaza tries to calm her down, but Fenris thinks Banaza's way too soft for letting her off the hook after that attack. Banaza claims it's not out of kindness. He's just keeping her threat in mind about him offing Fenris' brother. Fenris asks Banaza if something's up. Banaza says everything's cool, but then she leans in, asking if he's sure, making him blush a bit. She suggests they head home, and Banaza agrees. Meanwhile, Blossom is staring at her status screen, with the other girls doing the same. She still can't wrap her head around the fact that she got the title of Dragon Slayer. That's the legendary axe that once gave a dragon a pretty severe haircut. Bolano grabs the legendary axe that beheaded the dragon, but Blossom feels embarrassed about having used it. Ballyrosa is heading out, and Bolano asks where she's off to. Ballyrosa replies that she's off to hunt magical beasts. The girls exchange glances and start whispering, saying that Ballyrosa trains every day. They consider her way too strict. Blossom owes her title to Banaza. If she were more like Ballyrosa, she'd have to handle rank C monsters solo. Bolano says she'll step up her game too. Time passes and Ballyrosa walks on, shedding tears because she too wanted that title. Because with the Dragon Slayer title, even a lowly peasant can become a noble, every adventurer's dream. She was only a tad late. If she'd gotten the title, she could have restored her family's greatness and returned to the capital. Just like when her father was a knight. Then, a man approaches her, claiming to know someone who lives nearby and was looking for her. Ballyrosa finds it suspicious since he's lightly equipped in a forest full of monsters. She asks if he's a part of the Demon Lord's army. Lo and behold, the Demon Lord himself stands before Ballyrosa. She demands to know what he wants from someone who's left his army. Depending on his answer, he might have to deal with her. The Lord admits he's indeed from the Demon Lord's army, but is only here to check on Fenris. He decides it's best to leave, and then Ballyrosa sheathes her sword, saying she'll let it slide this time. The demon leaves a message for Fenris, expressing a desire to chat about the good old days over tea. Ballyrosa promises to pass the message along and asks for the demon's name. He introduces himself as Gozel. Ballyrosa finds the demon's name quite strange. Just as she's thinking that, Banaza calls Ballyrosa over and asks if she's okay or if she's injured. Ballyrosa informs him that Gozel from the Demon Lord's army just passed by. Fenris remarks that the man could have picked better fake names. Ballyrosa doesn't get it. Banaza explains that the barrier alerted him and he came to check, but he was surprised to find Ballyrosa chatting with someone with the title of Demon Lord. Ballyrosa is horrified at this revelation. It couldn't possibly be true. Fenris wouldn't lie about something like that. Indeed, she did speak with the Demon Lord, and Fenris reveals his true name is Gaul. Ballyrosa is shocked because she pointed her sword at the Demon Lord. She thought it was terrible and feared she was going to die. The next day, Fenris sees that the Demon Lord has indeed shown up. He's standing at their doorstep, claiming it's been ages since he last saw Fenris. Banaza introduces himself as Fleo and asks if he can call him Gozel. He invites the Demon Lord inside. The Demon Lord notes that Banaza doesn't even show a hint of fear in his presence, and then Ballyrosa tells Fenris she's going to hang the laundry, but she runs into the Demon Lord again. The Demon Lord mentions that they dealt with one of his subordinates recently over tea. Ballyrosa asks why she has to be there, right next to him, and Fenris asks the Demon Lord the reason for his visit, and if he's here for revenge. Banaza urges her to chill out. Meanwhile, Ballyrosa can't even move. The Demon Lord cuts to the chase, asking Banaza if he wants to join his army. Banaza says he's not particularly interested. The Demon Lord asks if he won't even accept an invitation from him directly. He's sure the King of Clyrode is desperate for Banaza's power and wonders why he's hiding out here instead. Banaza responds that he doesn't see any reason to support the humans just because he happens to be one. Besides, he's not even from that world, and he has no clue why they're at war. The demon lord asks if nobody bothered to explain it to him. Fenris mentions that her hubby isn't interested in getting tangled up in conflicts. She sees no point in bringing up that topic to the demon lord. It makes sense the reason for the war. The motive to fight shouldn't exist until someone understands it. This human-demon war had been raging for 500 years since the first demon lord appeared. The first demon lord was a weirdo from another world who wanted to rule that world, and the demons welcomed him because they were oppressed by humans at the time. That's when the conflict began between the demon supporters and the human opponents. Fenris asks if he even heard what she said earlier and why he spilled the beans to Banaza. But the lord ignores her and keeps talking. Ballyrosa is still feeling queasy while next to the demon lord. Banaza asks if the demon lord wants to end the war. To him, mentalities have changed a lot over the 12 generations. Personally, he doesn't want to rule the world, but his energy starts spreading. He mentions he's still the Demon King and can't just ignore a potential threat allying with their enemies. The Lord says Banaza won't regret joining them. Banaza again insists he's not picking any side. The Demon Lord starts laughing because he gets how Banaza turned down the king's offer. Banaza thanks him for being someone he can have a chat with. The Lord hasn't given up yet. He'll be back. He thinks Ballyrosa remained impassive near his presence, finding her an interesting woman. The Lord leaves, and the girls quickly rush over to the three to whisper. Blossom asks if she's okay, but Ballyrosa is in shock. She ends up staying in bed because she passed out. When she wakes up, she apologizes for yesterday, and when she realizes it, the Demon Lord is there, ready to have breakfast with them. However, Fenris wants him out once he's done. The Lord invites Ballyrosa to join them for breakfast, but she claims her outfit isn't appropriate and leaves. After a while, Ballyrosa tries to leave, but suddenly, the Lord is waiting for her behind the door because he wants to talk to her. She flees, saying she needs to train with her sword. Until another day, as she's out, he approaches her again to talk. But she says she has to wash clothes by the river later. They're in the garden when the Lord shows up again, and Ballyrosa flees, claiming she's off to gather firewood. Then they report to His Majesty that a demon was seen at Banaza's house, mentioning that this demon regularly visits there. The king finds it unbelievable and doesn't want to lose Banaza to the Demon Lord's army. But his daughter says it doesn't mean he's formed an alliance with the army. If he ticks off Banaza, it'll be worse. They need to hear Banaza out. To take steps together, they need to have understanding. However, the king tells the princess to shut up until the great hero arrives. When he arrives, he says he'll go there to force Banaza to join them. Meanwhile, the Demon Lord is on his way back to the house again. He wants to reconcile, but his servant finds it dangerous, and everyone needs his order. The Demon Lord leaves, and Banaza is sitting at his desk. He wants to sell defense equipment using dragon scales, so he made a prototype. He needs to do a few more experiments before the final product. He wants to succeed in sales to keep living there. Fenris asks if he's sure he wants to stay there because if he agrees to work with the great hero, he'll earn an incomparable amount compared to what he could earn now, and it would be an opportunity to make good use of his power. Banaza realizes he has great power and wants to avoid any form of conflict, which Fenris admires about him. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and Banaza goes to check. It's the great hero, summoning him to his army, saying that if he doesn't join to be his subordinate, he'll be considered a collaborator of the Demon Lord and be killed right there. The great hero thinks he's in a movie and believes his charisma has affected Banaza, leaving him speechless. He truly believes he'll become the real hero and leave his name in history. All he needs to do is make Banaza obey him and send him to defeat the Demon Lord for him. Banaza sees a big problem because he doesn't want any of those options. He feels bad having to say that to the great hero. But since so many people made the effort to come there, he wasn't planning on joining either side or the Demon Lord. The great hero says he understands and prefers to be executed for high treason. Banaza once again says no, just like he did before. The girls try to defend Banaza, saying it's tyranny. Blossom thinks they should hear his side. Bilary says Banaza isn't a traitor to the nation. The great hero heard there are others who follow Banaza, and he sees it's those girls. He could arrest them as traitors and even set them free, but in return they should cooperate to convince that man. Banaza sees no choice. After all, he doesn't want to cause trouble for Ballyrosa and her friends. Fenris asks what he plans to do. Banaza tells Fenris he doesn't want to pick a side or create conflict, so he's choosing to go somewhere else. Fenris says she'll go with him, but her friends ask Banaza for permission to go with him too. Ballyrosa says that since childhood, they were taught that demons should be eliminated. However, they started to doubt it when they began living with him and Fenris. They began to question if fighting demons was right, and if they should serve someone who threatens an innocent, they would shame their father, who was a worthy knight. Blossom thinks Ballyrosa is absolutely right, and Bilary asks Banaza and Fenris to take them along. The great hero asks if they think they can escape this siege, and Banaza becomes determined after hearing the girls talk. Then he uses teleportation magic. The great hero is dumbfounded because he can't use that spell. Suddenly, Banaza, Fenris, and the girls disappear, along with the house and the garden. The soldiers are incredulous because they don't understand how he could use such a powerful spell. The great hero is shocked to see that. Then a soldier sees the demon who was always around Banaza's house, and the great hero tells the soldiers to capture him. The Lord thinks all this was caused by them, arousing his anger. The soldiers and the great hero will have to make him understand the mess they made. And then the demon lord announces to the entire army to gather and attack the magical kingdom of Clyrode. He wants to show the humans the power of the demons. Given the order to attack, the demons can't afford to be late. Some awaken and go to the demon lord, and the great hero flees, shouting it's a strategic retreat. He doesn't even wait for his soldiers. Next, Banaza and the girls arrive at another location. The girls are surprised that the plantation and the house came along with the spell. Banaza says they're near Hado, west of the capital. It's a city where Banaza recently went to sell materials extracted from dragons. There, Banaza and the girls will be hidden from both the great hero and the demon lord. Ballyrosa feels relieved. Banaza apologizes to Fenris for involving her in so many problems, but Fenris knows it's not his fault. Besides, to stay by his side, she'd have to be ready to follow him anywhere. Then she goes to prepare dinner. Fenris is going to make it special to celebrate the change, and the girls will help her.